What's up, Star Wars fans? Today I want to talk about a Dave Filoni interview with Empire magazine. He talks about how the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels influenced The Mandalorian Season 3, and gives us a little hint about Luke, Din Djarin, and Little Grogu. That's right, it's always fascinating to hear from Dave Filoni. He is the apprentice of George Lucas, and he's been doing a great job with The Bad Batch Season 2. And in his interview with Empire magazine, Filoni states, "There's a big question at the end of Season 2 of what will Mando do next? Is that relationship over? In life, things don't always come to a perfect ending." Filoni tells Empire in a major new interview alongside Mandalorian co-creator Jon Favreau, "I think things can continue on and your adventure continues every day. I used to think about it with Clone Wars all the time. When is that battle over? When is that struggle over? Because it culminates in Revenge of the Sith, but that can't be the ending for that show, even though that's the ending of that era. That took a while to figure out." End quote. And it sounds like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have been thinking a lot about how they're going to end the story of Din Djarin and Little Grogu, and just like Dave Filoni took a lot of time and effort in coming up with a great ending for the Clone Wars series, I'm sure Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are coming up with something spectacular to end off this series as well. That said, I certainly don't think that The Mandalorian Season 3 is going to be the final season. I think there's been a long-standing rumor that 5 seasons is what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are aiming for. That all said, the article goes on to state, "Establishing Luke in the Mandalorian timeline was a major punctuation in the story, but this is far from where the stories of Luke, Din Djarin, and Grogu end." Filoni goes on to state, "I think that in some ways you want each season to have a feeling of an ending, but in a lot of what I've done, I don't like hard endings. I like reading books in a series and then thinking, oh, there's another book, and this is going to keep going. It's always sad for me when an adventure ends and the characters are seemingly done, so I think there's always that little bit of hope that something can continue." End quote. And certainly this statement is making a lot of sense. I mean, if we go back to Filoni's first work in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and then move on to Rebels, he really took a lot of the characters from The Clone Wars and moved them into Rebels. Not as major characters, but certainly as Captain Rex and Ahsoka as supporting characters. And then he's been able to take characters like Bo-Katan and Ahsoka Tano and put them into live action from animation. So really what he's been doing is continuing these stories, something that, as he states here, he loves to do. And so in these little snippets, if there's a hint about Mandalorian Season 3 from Dave Filoni, I think it is that we are 100% going to continue the stories of the characters we've seen in Season 1 and 2, and I absolutely think that includes Luke Skywalker. But hey, Star Wars fans, that's my crazy speculation for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, I'm Mike, and remember, the Force will be with you always.